That's it.
That's
Okay,
it.
so brother, nice to talk you, and you know that we have talked for a long time, and I literally tell you, you are my first friend outside of the India with whom I talk in that language. You can say English language, and whenever I talk with you, I feel so glad. I'm so fascinating to talk with you, and you are the my first friend with whom we are contacting through social media and Instagram and Facebook. It's my what can I say? It's a good chance that you provide me. Yeah,
Okay, and from my side, as I said, you were one of the first people that I talked in English, and it was really, for me, it was scary because I wasn't confident, etc. But I'm really glad that I come across you, and yeah, I guess we are on the same track. You know, you've got
exactly.
your way, I've got my way, but we've got one direction to be really
Exactly.
good at English. And yeah, I'm just want to say that I'm glad that sometimes we can get in touch and have a conversation as a
Yeah.
good friends,
Sent you.
as
Sent
good
you.
friends.
Exactly. And brother, could you introduce yourself?
Okay. Long story short, I'm a teacher. I graduated 3 years ago. I'm a teacher of history, but I never worked as a teacher of history because I moved abroad. I worked at factories, constructions, etc. As I said, long story short, I'm a teacher, but I've never worked as a teacher. And yeah, 2 years ago, uh, 2.5 years ago, I started learning English. I started learning English, and we will speak through our conversation about my experience, about tips, about problems, about efforts which I run up against on my way.
Exactly. And now you are in Ukraine, I think, because when I talked you last
Yes,
time, you was in Poland.
yes. I was working in Poland for 3 months, and I have returned to this week. Actually, I am now under the quarantine, and I will be I will be under the quarantine for the next 1 week. So
Oh,
I've got a lot of time to get my English shape back.
okay, that's cool. Okay, Bertie, first question I would like to ask you that tell your journey that you have told me that you have been learning English last 2 years. So what did you do? What ways you should apply? And what is the problem you have faced in this time? And what is the best trick you find which is really help for you of learning that language?
Okay, the reason why I started learning English in a funny way would be if I tell you that I had a lot of time and I was sitting and I decided, okay, what should I do next? Because after graduation, of course, there were some English lessons at university, but honestly, sometimes you know, how to say this? After graduation, I wasn't really good at English, especially I was zero in English, and in a couple of years after graduation, I realized that I've got something change, and I decided, okay, maybe I should start learning foreign language, and it'll be English because why not? At least it'll be better than doing nothing.
Hmm.
And when I started doing it, I just start scrolling YouTube, looking for free channels
Hmm.
for the learners, for learners, and I come across one YouTube channel. It's called English Galaxy. The founder is a Russian teacher, professor. He quit from university and started teaching on YouTube.
Hmm.
And I took his courses, absolutely free courses, which include 640 videos
Hmm.
from zero to hero, I would say,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
course.
That's fine.
And I took that course, and I started step by step, step by step, step by step. And the first year I spent only for rewriting what I see and repeating what I hear
Mm.
without speaking, without any practice.
Mhm.
And after 1 year, I remember my first conversation with that girl from Vietnam. And I thought that, okay, now I would be really cool at speaking because, I had been learning English for 1 year and I
Mm.
had some basic knowledge. But the first conversation, I couldn't even introduce myself in the right way
Right.
because, as I said, I hadn't been speaking
Right.
before I started for 1 year, before I started speaking. So I was impressed mm, about my, how to say this, not laziness, stupidness.
Oh.
That, I saw that, okay, I thought to myself that, okay, I've been learning English for 1 year, but I can't even introduce myself.
Mm.
I've got two directions. One, I start combining speaking with grammar, with writing, with vocabulary, and then I would see what will happen. Or I start doing what I did, and then I guess I would get nowhere.
Mm.
I would get nowhere because without speaking, it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
And I started looking for other people on lots of platforms, and yeah, I come across you
Mm.
on one of these platforms.
Right.
It was really hard. I was really embarrassed. I was shocked because I had some knowledge, some vocabulary, and I know how to use it. But in
Right.
real life, I was like numb.
Stuck. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say anything.
Right. 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 I got.
And
I get
yes,
it. I think it is the common problem pupils have because they know basic grammar, they know basic vocabs, they know many knowledge of English, but they are not able to express themselves. I think it is the biggest problem, and I think there is the second thing is which can say you can say fear. We have fear to making mistake. We think if we make a mistake, people laugh at him. They pull our legs. That is the reason we sometimes stuck. We don't want to talk. We think that when we speak very well, then we just talk, and that is the worst part. We have to speak regardless of mistakes. That is the only way through them you can be a good speaker, because without speaking you can't be speak. Okay, and brother Rust, I would like to ask you another question, that especially in India, you know what happened with us, we are very good in reading skills and writing skills, but if we talk in terms of speaking skills, we are not very well in speaking. So what you think, do you also face same problem in speaking, or you have same problem like reading and writing, or you just also face problem in reading, sorry, speaking? Yeah.
okay. I would say for lots of people, speaking is the most difficult thing in English, and writing as well, because you need to be really proper in
Mm.
every letter. But speaking, you can use it. Why people start learning foreign language? Because they want to speak. They don't want to write. Lots of people when start, they don't think, okay, I will be best writer in English as well
Mm.
on the whole wide world. No, they think, okay, that would be cool if I start talking to other strangers, especially checking in the hotel or making some business trip. Yeah, speaking is a much more essential than other skills, and at the same time the most difficult
Yeah. Right.
uh, thing to learning, because you've got to change your vocabulary from passive form to active form, which you can use without thinking about it.
Exactly.
And and for me, mm, for me, uh, the solution was the same. How should I ask myself, how can I take vocabulary from passive form and start using it in real life? Because it's really hard to use in a real conversation without thinking, if you have written or writing that word 1 year ago, and you've never used it in real conversation.
Mm.
And for me, I started looking for the solution, and I found out what should I do. maybe it would be useful for other people. It's
Yeah.
only my way, and as I said, I'm not good at grammar, at English, but I'm satisfied with my result. By
Exactly.
the way, okay. Every new word which I want to remember, I try to make sen- five sentences,
Mm.
five sentences in really different tenses with really different people. I try to write them,
Mm.
and after that, I create a question.
Oh.
Really, it can be stupid, it can be silly question. It doesn't matter. The reason why I create questions for strangers because
Mm.
I want to use it in real life. Because, for example, if you want to remember the phrase a customs cost officer at the airport, especially,
Mm-hmm.
you can't change the direction to your conversation when we talk with other people. You can't start speaking with about customs officer, at once. You've got to talk about it. In a 1 hour you might tend to this phrase. And I decided, okay, there will be questions for strangers. Questions for strangers. And then when I talk to other people, the first thing that I ask them, listen, I'm really fed up with introducing myself. I didn't want to talk about my family, about my favorite color, the weather. Instead, I've got a bunch of questions with my new vocabulary. Would you
Mm.
like to help me to remember this? And then lots of people think, okay, cool, why not? Other
Yeah.
people, okay, cool, why not? Okay, however, some
Uh,
people like it, some people not. And then I ask them, for example, give me a second. Are you a humble person? Are
mm.
you a humble person? Because I wanted to remember the word humble,
Mm.
shy, which means shy.
Yeah.
Or another, um, okay. Have you ever been at any ski resorts? Because I wanted to remember ski resorts, this phrase.
Mm.
Because, if I just want to remember ski resorts in an ordinary way, I would start remembering, repeating for 500 times to myself in the
Mm.
mirror without any result. Because in real life,
Mm.
I will probably forget it.
Exactly.
But this way helped me to use really rare words which I want to remember in real life without thinking, okay, how should I start talking about ski resorts or beverages or I don't know, some courageous actions? Because how should I use the word courageous,
Yeah.
which means okay, courageous. Instead of it, I just ask other people, have you ever done something courageous, or what is the most
Mm.
courageous actions that you've ever done?
Mm.
Okay, it's silly. Those questions aren't related to each other,
Yeah.
but who cares? Who cares? I just want to remember new vocabulary.
I I
And
completely get your answer. You wanna say that you try to use that word in your conversation as
yes,
much as you can, and it is the really practical way to learn that vocab for a long time. Because if you use more and more time, so it becomes your subconscious brain. It fit your subconscious brains very well, and it is the best way of learn language. And brother, I also share one point that you know what happens with people, they just learn English or any other language like a mathematical way. Like you can't learn language like physics or mathematical way. You just learn language through your subconscious brain. You can't learn language through conscious brain, because you can't say a square plus b square is equal to 2ab. You can't learn English in this method. And okay, I would like to ask you another question like grammar. You know that in India sometimes people face some problem, they stuck to translate the language. Like our native language is Hindi, and some people they try to translate Hindi to English, and sometimes that is the reason they are not feeling so fluent. So do you also face same problem, and have you ever done this thing?
mm, okay. About translating into my language, honestly, lots of people say that it's a bad habit,
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I come across a new word and I want to understand what does it mean in a context, not a single word,
Mm.
I use this only for understanding the whole picture. But I don't try to, in a real conversation, I don't try to translate English into my own language and from my own language, from my mother language into English, because it would take 1 minute, and I would be really slow,
Right.
like a turtle. And yeah, we shouldn't have to say this. We shouldn't translate every word into our language, because recently I had a conversation with my friend from Canada. She is Ukrainian, especially her mother is Ukrainian, but she was born in Canada, so she started learning Ukrainian language,
Mm.
and I helped her. And as I told her, don't try to translate every word is this, because in Ukraine it's a really common phrase. The milk is running out. It doesn't make any sense in English,
Right.
but, but when we talk in Ukrainian, it just means the milk is beginning to spoil.
Right.
The milk is spoiled, and so don't translate every word. But if you had some problems in general and you want to understand
Hmm.
how would it sound in English,
Right. Right.
for me it works. I don't know for other people how it will be.
Exactly, you are right. Because if you learn, if you speak through translating way, you can't be so natural. You don't look like natural. You feel bit of stuckness, and you have lots of pressure on your mind, because firstly your mind thinks in your native language, then you use all the grammatical rules, then you convert the first language to second language. So you can't say it's a natural conversation. You can say it's a translating way, and in translating is another job interpretation, you can say. So it's not an easy deal. It's really hard stuff. Okay, and another thing I would like to ask you, and I would like to share my points as well, that I think learning language, it also depends on your psychology. If you have a good positive psychology, you are completely active person, you are so full of confidence, so you can learn any language very well way and in a soon time. In compared to that, people, they feel very sluggish kind of person, and they have low confidence, because confidence also matters sometimes. If you speak, if you don't know how to speak, but if you have a confidence, you can speak very well and you look very well. First thing is you look very well. But I know some people, they are very good, even though some teachers, they are English teacher, they know all the grammatical rules, they know all the vocabs, mostly vocabs, but they are not able to express. So when I asked him, they said that when I speak, I feel stuck, even though I know all the rules of grammar. So I think psychology also play a vital role of learning language.
Yeah, psychology is, I would say, it is the main problem in English, in
Right.
all of learners, because my advice for lots of people: you need to be as confident as a drunk person.
Yeah.
Because you know
Right.
because if you are drunk, if person is drunk, it doesn't matter she's right or
She
not,
don't scare. Yeah, she
or
don't
he is
scare.
right or not. She
Right.
is right or he's right, and that's it. And you need to speak in English as much confidence and as you can. And it doesn't matter, you make mistakes or not mistakes. It's much better to make a lot of mistakes and to have a conversation for 1 hour than to speak for 1 minute without any mistakes and sound like a robot and reading from your not book all correct phrases. And yeah,
Exactly.
in my opinion. And about psychology, I come across lots of people older than me. They told me that okay, I will never speak in English because I'm too stupid or something like this. And oh wow, how did you do that? And in my case, at the beginning, I thought to myself, I tried to calculate how much it would take,
Mm.
and I told to myself that okay, it might take 3 years. I try to be a realistic person. 3 years. It will
Mm.
not be fast, like lots of courses promise you. English
Right.
in 1 week, 2 months, 3 years, 3 weeks. And I told to myself, okay, it might take 3 years. I might be wrong. I mean, uh, in the end, I told myself I might go nowhere. I might have no result,
Mm.
but at least I tried. three
Right.
years, okay. After 1 year, I started speaking. After 2 years, I have this conversation with you, and now I'm here. I'm really satisfied that I tried.
Yeah,
And try to be a realistic person. Don't
exactly.
trust those courses which tell you English in 1 hour, all English grammar in 2 hours
Single
or
video.
something like
Right.
this. Lots of people try to make money because of you,
Mm,
with the help
right.
of you,
Right. Right.
and you can learn English for free using website, you using internet. If you dive into it really deeply, it's up to you. It's always up to you, because
Exactly.
money can't give you fluency, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can't buy your skills.
Right.
You can't
Exactly.
buy your skills.
Yeah, and it's $1 million question, you can say. Mostly people ask me, how long does it take? How long does it take? How long does it take to learn language? So I always ask them, man, could you tell me how long did you take while learning your native language? Could you imagine how long did you take? Even though you completely immerse that language, what's your mother tongue, you can say, but English is not your mother tongue, and you are not completely immerse yourself in English language. So how do you think, how can you imagine that you can learn English 6 months or 9 months? It can't be impossible. And every time there are room for improvement, because now I think we are easily communicate in English, but we can improve ourselves a lot, because there are lots of room for improvement, and always be a chance to improve yourself. So always try to improve, and that's your best thing you share, that you have to be real person, you have to be realistic. You can't think hypothetically that I will be fluent in 6 months and 8 months. It can't be happen, because you can't any language 6 to 8 months. Language is not an easy deal. It's a very wide term, you can't say, and there are lots of
And
things inside. Yeah.
I've got an opinion about it. Once, I don't know, remember who exactly said this, but it doesn't matter. The phrase is, don't calculate in a day, in days, how much time you spend in English. No, calculate it in hours, because if you spend 1 hour in a week, and you are doing it for 3 years, it's not the same than you spend 2 hours every day for 6 months. And I've got a really useful program, and I see my every time that I start reading or writing English, I try to fix the time that I spend. I will share that program with you.
Sure.
Especially, I am doing it now. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen,
Okay, sure.
and it helps me to be aware how many hours I spent this year. Because now I
Exactly.
know this year I spent in English 500 hours.
Hmm.
It's
I think.
not like imagination that, okay, I learned English for 2 year for 2 year. I've been learning English for 2 years, and I might be good at it, but I'm not good at it because you know I don't
Hmm.
know what's the reason. The reason is, you don't calculate your hours. You just
Right.
calculate your days, weeks, months, years, but hours is essential. Okay,
Exactly.
I'm gonna share.
Okay.
Okay, could you allow me to share my screen, because
Yeah.
I am disabled to do it?
Okay, just a second.
Mm,
Oh my goodness. Okay, let it go. I will after. I think I will make another session. Then you can share. Okay, because I don't know here how can I do it. Okay.
okay, I just tell you how the
Yeah.
name
Sure.
of this
Sure. Sure.
the
Sure.
name of this app. It's called Forest. Forest.
Forest. Okay.
Forest. It is based on Pomodoro technique,
Uh huh.
but you can Google it, and then you will get a huge information how useful this app is. At the beginning, it's absolutely for free, and you can buy additional skills, but it's only one pay for $2. I have bought additional skills, and I'm really satisfied. There's only one app that I ever bought.
Oh my God.
And
Thank you indeed,
yeah,
because you definitely told a great real way, because through them you can introspect your time correctly, because if you count your hours, so you get a exact numbers of your hours. You can't, if you judge, if you calculate your whole days or months, so you can't get an accurate number. So that is the exactly, it's a good way. Okay, okay, Roy. Rosti, tell me that what changes you can see in your life, in your personality after learning this language. Could you see some changes? I think you also have a new friends outside your country, same like me. And another thing, what changes you can see in your life, in your personality, in your workplace after learning that language?
Okay, yeah, as you said, I had a lot of friends from all over the world. Despite of that fact,
Yeah,
yeah, my self confidence is in a higher level because I can cut myself at thoughts that I can do something. There is something that seemed like impossible, but now it's possible. And I don't know what will be my next step, but for example, if I can speak in English, maybe I can start doing something great. And self conf, it's like hitting the gym.
yeah,
At first it's really scary.
yeah,
In 1 year, you are obsessed with it. You are
exactly,
obsessed with
exactly.
it. And friends, self-confidence. Of course, I don't even talk about getting a better job or starting your own project like you do. That's really cool things. And mm, reading. You can get information in a original
Yeah,
way.
right.
Especially when I read. Now I have written 3 or 4 books in English, and it's even better. Of course, I can't understand all the information, but it's really cool. And
Right.
watching series in original, you can see the expression of those actors. Because in translation it will be sound like one voice through the whole movie,
Right.
but in original, you can see those different voices, different pitches of voices, etc.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. So last question, I would like to ask you that what you think about accent? Is accent really matter, or what you think? Do you have any time of problem regarding to your accent? To understand any accents like Indian accent, because people ask me that Indian accent is so thick, because I have some friends who from Brazil or any other country. They said Indian accent is bit of thick. So what you think? Accent is really matter or it don't matter? What you think?
Okay, I'm totally convinced in the next phrase.
Mhm.
Uh, Pronunciation matters, accent not. And
Oh,
here is why. Uh, if you start learning Irish, you like really, for example, Irish accent, and you try to learn it to sound like a native speaker in Irish, and then you come across a guy from Australia,
mm,
and you're really good at grammar, you're really good at English and vocabulary, but you sound like an Irish people, and that person from Australia, that person doesn't understand you, because sometimes even in Ukraine it's really hard to understand other people from from other parts of Ukraine, you
mm,
know, and if you know that you will be living in that village, Irish village, or cities like Dublin, uh, for a couple of years, it makes sense. But if you try to speak with lots of people, there is more sense. There is more. It makes more sense to start uh, trying to pronounce like international accent. I
mm,
call it international accent without any patterns. Of course, you can tend to some American accent or British accent. For example, for me, I like more American accent, and you can see it, you can hear it. Uh, but I don't try to speak like a native speaker. I don't use I gotta get out here this kind of phrases in a real fast way,
yeah,
because other people from Japanese, they might not understand me in real life.
exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. And spending hours to sound like a native speaker, you will you know we should stop pretending that we are native speakers,
Right.
because we will never speak like native speakers. It doesn't, of course, you can sound like, but it doesn't make any sense, for my opinion, in my humble opinion, because I saw lots of courses which
Right.
promised British accent, American accent, Australian accent, etc. But why? for example, sometimes people don't even good at grammar and vocabulary, but they tend learning how to sound, how to use R to say
Yeah.
water or
What up?
water.
Yeah.
Instead of it, just take a look at the dictionary and try to
Yeah.
remember new vocabulary.
Exactly.
Again, pronunciation matters, accent not.
I'm completely agree with you, and it's a definitely good answer by you because that you always speak your natural accent. What accent do you use? You just go with that accent. But yeah, I think you are good in listening. If you are very well in listening skills of all kind of accent, if you easily understand all the American, British, or Australian accent, so it is easy for you to talk with the pupils because sometimes you are not able to understand means your listening skill is not very well. So firstly you have to improve your listening skills. You should be able to understand all kinds of accent, and the second thing is you should make your accent bit of standard accent which is easily accessible in whole world, you can say. That is my point. Suppose if I talk with you, if I talk Indian guy, if I talk Japanese or Chinese or Brazilian guy, so I can easily communicate and you also understand my accent. So it is called a standard accent, you can say. But don't try to be a same accent because it's like a freaky or fake kind of thing. Okay, so
Yes.
definitely you give all the definitely good information, and I hope it will definitely help the people. And brother, if you have any question or any code, any kind of thing, so you can ask me. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I would like to recommend your students and other people who try to remember new vocabulary, because it's really hard to remember all those words, because you try to remember it. And for this, I use technique which is called spaced repetition technique
Mm,
with the help of Anki. Give me a second. Here is my Anki program on computer or on a
yeah.
laptop.
Yeah.
Red, you see the days which I use this program. Green, especially in this time I was in Poland. For
Yeah.
example, how I use it. I open it up and I see the translation in Ukrainian language, but then there is a phrase which shows me the translation.
Mm,
And long story short, this app is based on spaced repetition technique. Lots of medicine students in America use this app, and it's totally free. But for iOS devices, I don't know how much it costs, maybe $20 or something like this. But for Android, it's absolutely free. For laptop, it's absolutely free.
okay.
And I can't even imagine my study without this app, because I don't have to learn new words by heart. I don't have to remember every day 50 times, 100 times. It doesn't matter. I just put my new vocabulary on this phrase, making some flashcards, and in a couple of days I will see it again. Take a look on the web. You can Google it about Anki, really useful program. Another tips which I can share with your students, it is reading. And recently I have bought this reader. It's called Pocketbook.
Pocketbook.
It's
Okay.
called Pocketbook.
Mm,
It's kind of the same like Amazon Kindle, but with the help of this little device, I can read a lot of English books.
yeah.
Give
Novels,
me a
magazine.
second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can use as a translator at the same time. You can take some notes. It doesn't cost a lot, maybe, I don't know, $100, but you see, it doesn't hurt your eyes, because it looks it looks exactly like a paper.
Mm,
And yeah, about my tips, that's it about my programs. And I just want to take in general, okay, to summarize
yeah. Sure.
our conversation. I would say that there is no shortcuts to fluency.
Mm,
You know, there is
definitely.
no shortcuts, and you can't speak only if you read or write.
Right.
Take a look at lots of engineers, at Elon Musk. You know,
Yeah.
he started reading books, but then he started building rockets.
Right.
He doesn't reading about it all the time. He started doing it, and you can study a lot only through practice,
Right.
and practice makes it perfect. Yeah. That's my
Exactly.
opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I am so glad. I am so glad to talk with you. I think this conversation is definitely helpful for the pupils who learning English. I'm not saying only English. If they learn any other language, so it conversation it definitely help because you and me both know very well the language learning things because we have been in this process. We have been in this process, so we very well know that what should we do and what we shouldn't do. So you definitely tells the definitely very effective tips for the students and they will definitely use it. So I am so glad to talk with you and definitely I really appreciate you, man. Thank you, thanks
Yeah,
to
and
join
as
us.
I said,
Yeah,
I'm not good at grammar, at English,
yeah,
and of course, maybe if I took some private lessons, paid money for it, I would have a better level. But I paid only for pen and paper in
yeah.
my way. That's it. The whole information that I get, it was on the web, and you can do the same if you're really obsessed with English. And to be obsessed with English can bear fruits, and it can help you if you're really into it. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Either me and I haven't also spent any single penny of learning this language. I think that we should learn this language completely free of cost because everywhere you can say this language is available. So the second thing is you have to immerse yourself in this language. And two things I would like to all the people who listen that firstly you have to be consistent. You have to work with full of consistency. And second thing, you should have patience because you can't learn this language in a some a couple of months. You have to spend some years. And same like Rusty told me that you always count your hours, don't count your days or months. So it is the ghost way. You just be a honest person. You don't be try to fake kind of people. You should be honest firstly. Firstly, you have to be honest with yourself. Then you can do, and you just enjoy this process. Do you don't think that you are studying or you are doing something. You just enjoy or make a habit to listen in English or read in English and write in English, and same like make new friends. And same like Rusty told that if you are good in English language, so the best thing I found in English language, you can make new friends. You can know the different kind of cultures, different countries cultures, different kinds of people, that what they think about the world. So you can see that your information, your knowledge will definitely grown, you can say. That is the best part of it. Okay, so thank you so much, brother, and I hope I will catch you later and we will make another session of any topic in next time. Okay.
Okay, feel free to call me